You know, have you ever read a single sentence that just stops you, makes you put everything down and just think? Today, we're going to take one of those sentences and really pull it apart, piece by piece, to figure out what gives it so much weight. Let's get into it.
There it is. Just let that sink in for a second. It's got some real gravity to it, doesn't it? It's making this huge, sweeping claim about existence itself. It's basically saying that the entire meaning of life is wrapped up in power and truth.
And that's the big question, right? To get our heads around the whole thing, we've got to break it down into its parts. So we're going to go on a little journey here and unpack all the layers of meaning hiding inside these 14 words.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. The sentence kicks off with this massive idea, this kind of ultimate goal it sets out for us.
Right off the bat, the bar is set incredibly high. We're not talking about just having a good life or a comfortable one. The quote is aiming for greatness. And that taps right into that deep, universal feeling we all have, that desire to live a life that really matters.
So what do we even mean by greatness in this context? It's definitely not about being famous or rich. The quote seems to suggest it's built from these four things. See, you need a purpose, something to aim for. That purpose gives your actions meaning. And when your life has meaning, it gains significance. And that's what creates real, lasting value. That's the prize. So if that's the goal, a life of greatness, how in the world do we get there? Well, the quote's answer is kind of surprising. It's not about working harder or getting lucky. It points to a very specific and very different kind of power.
And boom, there it is. This is the engine driving the whole idea. The source of all this greatness isn't about having an army or political influence. It is, very pointedly, the power of truth.
Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. Because usually when we think of power, we think of the ability to influence things, to make something happen. But this quote connects that power to truth, to reality, to the state of just being real. So the idea is that the biggest influence you can possibly have doesn't come from forcing things, but from simply aligning with what's real.
But what kind of power are we talking about here, really? It's not like a king giving a command. It's something way more fundamental, something that's just woven into the fabric of the universe.
The power of truth, then, is this constant, unavoidable pressure that reality puts on everything. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like gravity. You can try to ignore gravity, you can jump up and down, but you can't escape it. Eventually, you come back down. The quote is arguing that reality works the same way. It's always there, exerting its influence, whether you pay attention to it or not.
All right, and that brings us to the final part of the sentence, and maybe the most intense part. This is the clause that says this whole thing isn't just a nice idea. It's something that happens to every single one of us, no exceptions.
I mean, just listen to that phrasing, to which all souls bow down. That's not a gentle suggestion, is it? It's framed as an absolute. The language is all about surrender, about finally acknowledging a force you just can't deny anymore.
And this is what makes the statement so incredibly bold. The scope is just total. It isn't just for philosophers or saints. The quote says all souls. That makes it a universal law, an inescapable part of just being human.
Exactly. No exceptions, no loopholes, no one gets a pass. The philosophy here is that every single one of us at some point comes up against what is real and has to yield. It's presented as a fundamental constant of being alive.
So let's look at it one more time with all these pieces in place. The greatness of life, that's our search for meaning and purpose. It is the power of truth, the undeniable influence of reality, to which all souls bow down, which is an eventual, universal, and inevitable surrender for everyone. When you put it all back together, it's a remarkably complete argument packed into just a few words.
And so that leaves us with one last question to take away. If this whole idea is true, if real greatness in life comes from aligning ourselves with what is real, then what's the cost of fighting it? What do we lose when we choose to ignore the truth? That's definitely something worth thinking about.